Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is GYNAECOLOGY, and if you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm a 6th year medical student studying in Nigeria. So today I'm going to talk about OSCE tips in obstetrics and gynecology because I've gone through the process and I believe that I can talk about it. So basically I'm going to leave the full meaning of OSCE somewhere here. So the first thing I want to tell you is that OSCE in Nigeria, every station is going to be lasting for 5 minutes. So basically in my OSCE I had like 10 stations in my first test. Then my second test I had 12 stations and each station lasted for 5 minutes. So I just want to give you tips on how to pass and get at least enough marks for like the highest mark possible for a particular station. So I'm going to give you guys tips on how to get done and dusted with the OSCE in obstetrics and gynecology. So let's get right into this video. So the first tip I'm going to advise you, especially if you are a medical student studying in Nigeria, is to get the checklist. It's because every station has a particular step that they're going to grade you on. So everything you do has a mark, can be 1, 2, or 3. So it's very important to get the checklist. For example, if you are in station 1 and station 1 requires you to do a general examination, there's a checklist, a paper where you have all the steps and how to do general examination. And for every step you do, there's a particular mark that is allocated to that particular step. So you do need to get the checklist so that you can be using it to practice with other people. So the second tip is practice with real life people. And if you don't have maybe roommates, if you live alone, or maybe you cannot go to like your classmate's place, practice with maybe mannequins or teddy bears or even your pillow, because it's very important that you practice these steps over and over and over again, so that when you come for the exam, it will be very easy for you to just do it. Like it will be part of you, like you do it from your head. You don't even need to think, you just know the next step to do because it will just be flowing. So for example, if I have a station during examination, I will call my roommates and I will tell her that she should please lie on the bed. Then I want to carry out an examination on her, general examination or any examination on her, and I will try my best to make sure I do it well. Then the third tip I also want to give you guys is that since you already know that this examination, every station lasts for 5 minutes, you want to try your best and perform each station under 4 minutes or 4 minutes 30 seconds, because it's better to time yourself to get to 4 minutes 30 seconds or 4 minutes before the actual 5 minutes, because it's going to really help you. Now let me tell you something. Do you know that you can actually be practicing for 4 minutes and then go to the exam hall and something just comes up, you don't even know how, but either tension or your patient, I don't know, might want to turn or tell her, or might want to say that she's uncomfortable and time is going. So if you've been practicing for like 4 minutes, you can quickly just do it within 4 minutes. Yeah, basically. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to tell you guys that you people should know the amount of stations. Like you should know the amount of stations you're going to meet in the exam. So basically, in my school, we have about 10 to 12 stations. So my first test, I had general examination. There was abdominal examination for abdominal mass. There was obstetric examination where a pregnant woman is brought in and you examine the pregnant woman. Okay, in my second test, they added vulva examination where you do a speculum examination for a woman. That's the 4 major examinations. Then we had other stations where there was clerking. So basically there was clerking. There was a clerking for an obstetric history. You're taking history from a woman that is pregnant. That is obstetric history. And there was also gynae clerking, where you're clerking a woman that is not pregnant but had something else to do. Hi baby, you should introduce your voice a little. Thank you. Hey guys, those are my classmates. Yeah. What was I even saying again? Okay, yeah, so I mentioned 4 examinations: vulva examination, general examination, obstetric examination, and an abdominal examination. Then we had 2 clerkings: obstetric clerking, gynae clerking. Then we also had post-encounter stations. So there are questions that are called post-encounters, and whatever you collect from a particular patient, whatever information you get from that patient, use it to answer the questions in the next station. So they call them post-encounter stations. Then we also had 2 oral stations. One was for obstetrics and one was for gynecology. So in total, I had like, in my first test, 10 stations, and in my second test, 12. I think I had 12 stations. Or was it 11? I don't know. But do the maths, yeah. So that's the tip. Then another tip I want to tell you is that when you are going for your oral station, try to be loud, because you might be saying things that are right and your examiners are not hearing you, like the invigilators are not hearing you. And trust me, imagine if I know something and I'm not even being loud about it. My examiner will just assume that I'm not sure, so I will not get the allocated marks for that particular answer. So you need to try your best and answer. Then in the oral exam, if you are giving, like in a station, obstetric viva, for example, I keep calling it viva, please, it's not viva, it's oral station. Now, during this oral station, everybody's going to go through this same question. So it's not like there are selected questions for you. No, everybody will go through the same question. So if there are 2 questions in a particular station and you're not sure of number 1, quickly attempt number 2. Since you're very sure of number 2, just quickly attempt number 2. Then after attempting number 2, you can now go back to number 1 and try to work your way around number 1. The point is, you have 5 minutes to answer the question, so you don't try to waste your time. The funniest part is that it might sound like 5 minutes is too short to answer an oral station, but trust me, it's very long. The worst is when you don't even know the answer. That will be the longest station in your life. That will be the longest 5 minutes, especially if you don't know the answer to that particular question. So, yes. And then when clicking, another advice is that when clicking a patient under 5 minutes, you try your best to be fast. Now, remember, you have to be practicing the clicking questions. Like, there's also a checklist for all these things. So you practice with them so that when you just reach there and you're on that station, you just be rattling the questions very fast. From the biodata down to whatever review of system, you just have to be very, very fast. So just try and be fast. Then another thing again, I'll tell you that a lot of us had problems. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, there was also a station for partograph. So we had to learn how to do the partograph. So you guys, I think you should also learn, practice too. So for every station I've mentioned, the most important thing is that you need to practice before you start for the exam. Now when I say practice, I don't mean you should just practice once or twice. Like, practice, if possible, if you have like 2 weeks before the test, try to practice every day. Because you might think you do it once and you'll be fine. You will not be fine. Just, if you can do it at least 5 times, if you can even practice a day before and probably the morning before the exam, it's really nice. Because trust me, tension, my God, tension. But I hope that with these tips that I have been able to answer some questions, and I've been able to give you guys some advice, because honestly, it's not actually that bad. OSCE to me is better than theory, because you basically know what is coming out. You basically know that it's general examination, especially for obstetrics. So I'm talking about pediatrics, a whole different level. I'm going to do a different video for pediatrics, because trust me, pediatrics is a whole ball game. That department, those women, oh my God. But for obstetrics, you already know that there will be fixed examinations that you must know. There's always obstetrics examination, gynae examination, general examination, and vulva examination. So you just know, you know what is coming, so you just prepare towards it. The only thing you don't know in obstetrics OSCE is the oral question. So you can imagine going, for example, you're going around 12 stations, and out of the 12 stations, you're short of 10. So it's just the oral now that you battle it. Yeah, so I hope this was helpful. Please, you guys, do not forget to subscribe, to share, to comment. Please, I really am begging. Please, people should subscribe, share, tell your friends. This information can help someone, even your sibling or anybody that you know that is in medical school. All right, now, bye.